I guess if you're reading this, you deserve to know everything. I don't expect you to understand me. Honestly, I'm still trying to understand myself. But this is what happened. I'm 18 now. For the most part, I've had a normal life. My parents are loving, kind, the sort of people others admire at church or school events. My mom always wanted a big family. She used to say she dreamed of 2 daughters and a son, a perfect balance. But after I was born, she couldn't get pregnant again. Something to do with her immune system or some condition I never fully understood. I remember hearing quiet sobs behind closed doors when I was a kid, especially after her doctor appointments. When I was 13, everything changed. My parents decided to foster a boy from the system. They said it was the right thing to do, that God led them to this. His name was Aaron. He was 13 too, just a few months older than me. He moved in with a small duffel bag and eyes that looked older than his age. I didn't talk to him much at first. I remember feeling weird about it, like we were supposed to treat him like family overnight. But we were total strangers. He didn't smile a lot, but he was polite, quiet, respectful, especially around my mom. I think she fell in love with the idea of him being the son she never had. Over time, we got closer. Not in a romantic way at first. It was more like allies under the same roof. My dad worked a lot, and my mom, she tried hard, but you could tell she was still learning how to be a mom to a boy that didn't come from her. Aaron and I would talk in the kitchen late at night, or share music in the living room when the power went out. We'd laugh about dumb school stuff, or complain about chores, or sit in silence without it feeling awkward. We became close. Closer than siblings, even though I didn't want to admit that back then. By the time we were both 16, I started noticing things. The way he looked at me when I wasn't looking. How his voice changed when we were alone. He would open doors for me, brush my hair out of my face, help me carry things even when I didn't need help. It was gentle, soft, and I felt it. The shift. I started wearing nicer pajamas at night, putting on perfume even when I was just home. Not for him. I told myself, just because. Just for me. But I knew deep down why I did it. He never said anything directly, not for a long time. But one night after dinner, I was washing dishes and he came up behind me and handed me a towel. His hand brushed against mine, and it lingered. We looked at each other for maybe 2 seconds too long. My heart was racing. I couldn't breathe. That night, he knocked on my door. I let him in. Nothing happened. Not physically. We just talked. But it was different now. We were past the point of pretending we were just siblings. We weren't blood. We weren't raised together since birth. But still, it felt like we were doing something wrong, even if no one had said it out loud yet. The first time we kissed, it was me who started it. I had just turned 17. He came into my room to show me something stupid on his phone. We were lying next to each other on my bed, laughing. And then he looked at me and said, "You're really beautiful, you know that?" And I just leaned in. I don't know what came over me. I didn't even think. I just wanted him so badly in that moment, not just his lips or his touch, but the safety I felt when he looked at me like I was worth everything. We kept it a secret, of course. No one would understand. My mom would feel betrayed. My dad would lose it. Even though we weren't related by blood, we were raised as siblings. That's how people would see it. That's how the world would judge us. But in our little private moments, when he held my hand under a blanket, or whispered my name like it was made of glass, nothing felt wrong. It felt like home. He made me feel wanted in a way no one else ever had. The night we first slept together was the night after prom. I didn't go. I told everyone I was sick. But really, I just didn't want to dance in a dress I didn't like with people I didn't care about. He stayed home too. We watched movies in the dark, ate microwave popcorn, and talked about what college might look like. Then the power went out. For real this time. From a storm. And in the dark, with rain tapping on the windows and his breath warm against my neck, we crossed the line completely. I asked him if we should use protection. He hesitated, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "I've got it. It's okay. I'd never let anything happen to you." I trusted him. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I just wanted to believe that if something happened, we'd deal with it together. But that was the moment we stopped being careful. And now I'm late. Like 2 weeks late. And I'm scared. Not just of being pregnant. I'm scared of what this means. Of what people will say. Of what my parents will do if they find out. Because even though Aaron and I aren't technically siblings, the world won't care. I didn't want to panic at first. I told myself it was stress. That maybe my cycle was just off. I've had late periods before. But in the back of my mind, I knew this wasn't like the other times. I felt different. Like my body was holding its breath and not telling me why. I waited 5 more days. Each morning I'd wake up hoping for a sign that everything was normal. That this was all just a scare. But every time I went to the bathroom, I felt more and more like the floor beneath me was slowly cracking open. On the 6th day, I bought a test. I stuffed it in the bottom of my bag, like it was contraband. I didn't even look at the cashier when I paid. I felt like everyone around me knew. Like they could see it on my face. The shame, the fear, the secret I hadn't even spoken yet. I took the test that night while my parents were watching TV in the living room. Aaron was in his room. The silence in the bathroom felt heavier than usual. I stared at myself in the mirror for what felt like forever. I didn't even recognize the girl looking back. And then I took it. Those 2 pink lines showed up faster than I thought they would. I don't remember crying. I just remember sitting on the floor, my knees pulled to my chest, the test on the tile next to me. The world didn't stop or explode. It just shifted. Like something irreversible had taken place, but no one else could see it. I didn't tell Aaron that night. I couldn't. How do you even begin to say something like that? The next few days were a blur. I barely ate. I couldn't concentrate in class. I avoided Aaron like I was afraid he'd see it in my eyes. He asked if something was wrong, and I just told him I wasn't sleeping well. That wasn't a lie. I'd lie in bed for hours thinking about what was growing inside me and what that meant. Was this the beginning of something, or the end of everything? Eventually, I made an appointment at a clinic. I needed to be sure, medically. I needed someone who wasn't me, someone in a white coat, to say the words out loud because I couldn't. The nurse was kind. She didn't look at me like I was disgusting or irresponsible. She just asked me questions in a soft voice and nodded when I didn't know how to answer. "Yes," she said, after the second test. "You're pregnant, around 6 weeks." 6 weeks? That's not a lot of time, but it felt like a lifetime. She asked if I wanted to talk to someone. I said no. But she gave me a card anyway. A counselor, someone who worked with teen moms. Then she asked the question I was dreading. "Does the father know?" I shook my head. "Is he your boyfriend?" Another shake. "Do you feel safe with him?" That made me pause, and then I nodded. "Yes, it's complicated." She didn't press me, but she looked at me like she knew I was holding something back. Later that night, I sat on the back porch alone. It was chilly, but I needed the air. Aaron came out and sat beside me. We didn't say anything at first. Then he asked if I was mad at him. I looked at him, really looked, and something in me broke. My chest caved in with all the things I hadn't said, and I whispered, "I'm pregnant." His face changed instantly. He blinked like he didn't hear me right. What? I took 2 tests. I went to the clinic. I'm 6 weeks. He just stared at me. For the first time in our whole weird, secret thing, he didn't know what to say. I thought maybe he'd hug me, or tell me we'd figure it out. I hoped for anything but the silence that followed, and when he finally did speak, it felt like ice water down my back. "You should have told me sooner," he said. "You didn't do this on purpose, did you?" That crushed me. I pulled back, shocked. "What? No, of course not." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. I don't know. We weren't careful, and maybe you wanted this more than I realized." The words stung worse than anything. "You said you had it under control." "I thought I did," he snapped. "But this wasn't supposed to happen." Suddenly I felt like I was standing there alone. Like all those nights of feeling safe with him had been a trick I played on myself. "I didn't trap you, Aaron," I said, my voice shaking. "This is just as scary for me as it is for you." He didn't respond. He just looked away. That night, I cried in my room with the lights off, pressing a pillow to my mouth so no one would hear me. It wasn't just the pregnancy. It was everything. The love I thought I understood. The boy I thought I knew. The future I thought we might have. It was all unraveling, and I still hadn't told my parents. I don't know why I waited another week before telling my mom. Maybe part of me was hoping I'd wake up and it would all be a bad dream, that I'd still be a regular teenager with college plans and crushes that didn't carry lifelong consequences. But the nausea got worse. I was throwing up most mornings. My body was changing, slowly but clearly. I couldn't pretend anymore. One morning, my mom knocked on the bathroom door while I was bent over the sink, trying to breathe through the taste of bile. She asked if I was okay. I said I had the flu. She didn't seem convinced. Her voice had that worried mom edge to it, the kind that made my stomach turn harder than any illness. Later that day, she cornered me in the kitchen. I was trying to eat dry toast. She looked at me and said, "Honey, I need you to be honest with me. Are you pregnant?" Just like that. No warm-up. No hints. I froze. I wanted to lie. I really did. But I couldn't. Something inside me broke open, and I just nodded. She went quiet, like completely silent. She sat down at the table, folded her hands together, and stared at nothing for what felt like forever. I sat too, my fingers trembling, my eyes burning. "Who's the father?" she asked finally. I couldn't speak. My throat felt like it was closing. She asked again, slower this time. I whispered, "Aaron." Her head snapped toward me like I'd slapped her. Her face was pale. Not angry yet, just stunned. "Aaron," she said, like she hadn't heard me right. "Aaron? Your brother?" "He's not my real brother," I mumbled. "He's adopted." "That doesn't matter," she exploded. Her voice shook with a kind of fury I had never seen from her before. "He lives in this house. He is family. We raised him like a son." I tried to explain that it hadn't been like that at first, that we hadn't meant for it to happen, that we loved each other. But every word I said just made her face harden more. "You're just a child," she said, "and he's taken advantage of you." "No," I said quickly. "It wasn't like that. I wanted to. I love him." She stood up so fast her chair screeched across the floor. "Don't say that," she snapped. "Don't you dare tell me this is love." Then came the words I still hear in my head sometimes. "You've embarrassed this family. You've turned this house into something I don't even recognize. I trusted you. I trusted him." I begged her not to tell Dad yet. I wasn't ready. She didn't say anything back, just walked out of the kitchen and slammed the door to her room. Later that night, she came into my bedroom with her arms crossed and her eyes red from crying. She told me I needed to think very carefully about what kind of life I wanted. She said I was throwing everything away. College, freedom, a future. She told me to consider abortion. I sat there, hugging a pillow, shaking my head. I can't, I whispered. I don't want to. She looked so disappointed, so tired. She didn't argue, though. She just stood there for a moment, then said, "Fine, but you can't stay here." "What?" "You're going to your aunt's house in Idaho. You'll finish school there. I'll help you with the arrangements." Like she was talking about sending me off to a summer camp. I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. "You're kicking me out?" "You need to learn there are consequences to your actions," she said, her voice low and shaking. "And I need space to figure out what to do with Aaron." The way she said his name, like it was poison in her mouth, made me feel like this whole world I'd built with him had been shattered. I packed a bag 2 days later, just the essentials: clothes, my journal, a photo of Aaron and me from 2 summers ago, the one where we were at the lake, smiling like nothing bad could ever happen. He tried to talk to me before I left, but I wasn't ready. I couldn't even look at him. He had hurt me too much. His silence, his suspicion, his distance. I wanted to scream at him and hold him all at once, but I didn't do either. I just walked out of the house without saying goodbye. The drive to my aunt's place was quiet. My mom didn't speak to me except to give short instructions like, "Turn there," or "Put your seatbelt on." I cried when she dropped me off, but she didn't. She just kissed my forehead like I was still a little girl, and then drove away. And now I'm here. In a room that isn't mine, in a town I barely know, carrying a life I made with someone I'm not sure I can even trust anymore. Sometimes I talk to the baby, like it can hear me already. I tell it I'm scared. I tell it I'm sorry. I tell it I'll try my best. I don't know what comes next. But I'm still here, still breathing, still hoping something good can come from something so broken. It's been almost 2 months since I moved in with my aunt. The leaves are starting to change here. Gold, deep red, brown. Fall always used to feel exciting, like the start of something. This year it just feels quiet. My aunt's been kind in her own way. She doesn't ask too many questions. She leaves little snacks by my door. Sometimes I catch her watching me when she thinks I'm not looking, like she wants to help but doesn't know how. I've been going to school again, different faces, a different rhythm, but I'm managing. Most days I keep my head down. Some of the girls know. Word travels fast in small towns. No one's mean, but I feel the stares. I keep my hands on my belly like I'm protecting a secret, even though it's not so secret anymore. I'm 20 weeks now. The baby moves sometimes, little flutters like butterfly wings. The first time it happened, I cried. Not because I was scared, but because it made everything feel real. Like I wasn't just carrying a problem or a mistake. I was carrying a person, a life. And then, just when I'd started to accept that maybe I'd be doing this alone, Aaron showed up. I came home from school and he was sitting on the front porch. Just sitting there, with a duffel bag and that look on his face. The one I knew better than my own reflection. I froze. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to run to him. But instead, I just stood there, my hands gripping my backpack straps so tight they hurt. He stood when he saw me. "Hey," he said, soft and careful. I didn't respond. I didn't trust my voice. He looked older, tired, like the last few weeks had dragged him through the same hell I'd been living in. "I talked to your mom," he said. "She told me where you were." I raised an eyebrow. "And she was okay with you coming here?" He smiled, just a little. Not even close. I should have been angry. I should have shouted at him for all the things he didn't say, all the ways he failed me when I needed him most. But instead, I just sat beside him and let the silence wrap around us like a blanket. "I was scared," he finally admitted. "When you told me, I didn't handle it right." "No," I said, "you didn't. I thought everything was over, that we'd ruined everything. And now?" He looked at me then, really looked. "Now I just want to fix what I can. I want to be here, with you, for the baby, for us." My eyes welled up. I hated how much I wanted to believe him, but I did. I still do. "I don't know what's going to happen," I whispered. "I don't have it all figured out." "I don't either," he said. "But I'm not running again. I promise." We talked for hours, about everything, what he told my parents, how he finally stood up to them, how he started working part-time at a repair shop, just to save something, anything, for our future. He wasn't pretending to be perfect. He was just being honest. And that mattered more than anything. After that, he stayed. My aunt agreed to let him sleep on the couch for now. It's not glamorous, and we're definitely not a normal couple. But it's something. A beginning. Some nights we sit up late together, hands resting on my belly, waiting for the baby to kick. We talk about names. We argue over baby clothes. He reads books out loud, silly things just to make me laugh. For the first time in months, I feel like I'm not alone. My mom still hasn't called. I write her emails I never send. Maybe someday she'll come around. Maybe not. I try not to think too much about it. I have enough to carry right now. I don't pretend this story is perfect. We broke rules. We made mistakes. But there's love here. Complicated, messy, real love. And a baby who didn't ask for any of this, but deserves everything good we can give. I'm not the same girl I was 6 months ago. That version of me didn't know how strong she was. Now I'm building something new. One tiny heartbeat at a time. And I'm not doing it alone anymore.